100 books this year because I'm crazy. And now I get to de-shelf them. Fun stuff, fun stuff. Okay, so I've talked about all these books at some point on my channel, so today I'm just going to be showing you every book I read in 2023, giving you my rating of them, along with my one sentence, give or take, review of them, slash thought of them, slash most prominent takeaway. But before we get into all that, I'm gonna pop up my stats on the screen in case you're like me and enjoy that kind of stuff. Woman in STEM unite. Not even in STEM. I'm going to go in order in which I read the books. My rating may have changed since I initially rated them, you know, after I let her cook a little. Last year I was like, watch me accidentally skip a few books, and then that's literally what I did. So, as one may say, history may repeat itself. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Starting with The Stationery Shop by Marhan Kamali, which is a heartfelt historical romance that would be great for someone who is unfamiliar with Iran's political history and culture. As long as you can suspend your disbelief enough to believe that two people would carry a torch for each other for 50 years, this book really took dedication to the next level. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney is a fast-paced thriller with an impeccable snowy atmosphere. I'm having my own snowy atmosphere going on right now. A tense marriage and letters scattered throughout. That's right, we have a primary source in here. What Happens in Paradise? Me reading Ellen Hilderbrand all day. This is the second book in the Winter in Paradise trilogy. It was solid. A very character-focused read, but that is what Ellen Hilderbrand does best. No Exit by Taylor Adams was good, but not great. It had twists, but way too many turns. Trouble in Paradise finished off the Winter in Paradise trilogy with an ending that will leave you wanting more. Very confused expression going on because I am still very confused. Maybe not confused, but more so sad because the ending was unsatisfying, but I am going to miss these characters. Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. No, leave this book behind and hop on Netflix and watch the adaptation instead. It is so much better. It surpassed my expectations, looped back around and surpassed them again, given my expectations were not very high, but this movie was fantastic. So let's just say the story is way better fitted for the screens. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Who would have thought this thickie would call me up and relay the most poignant story of survival and resilience within a family and an Alaskan setting? Oh my God, breathtaking. This book, amazing. Amazing. Twisted Lies by Anna Huang, more like let's all lie to Sara and tell her this is the best book in the series. No, it was not. Twisted Hate all the way. The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth shouldn't have been this good given that these characters are defined by them having mental health problems. There's more to a person than being mentally ill. Take it from someone who would know. One by One by Ruth Ware isn't as bad as people have made it out to be. Is it a bit slow? Sure. But forcing tech employees to log off the internet and connect with the elements is just asking for mayhem, and I loved it. The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren is a cute little rom-com between assistants to the Chip and Jonah Gaines of this world. Look, HGTV is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, so I enjoyed it. Hide by Kristen White. Now this one is as bad as people have made it out to be. I don't know why this is classified as a horror because Kristen White really went to lengths at avoiding putting anything remotely horrifying in here. The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. What if I told you that the movie Groundhog's Day was rewritten in the form of such a sweet, cute, funny YA romance and instead took place over Valentine's Day? Only Lynn Painter could write a book that was better than the movies. Ooh, good one, Sarah. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. My biggest surprise of this year was that I expected not to love this, and I did. This reconstructed my view of the sci-fi genre as a whole. Have you ever been to a bed and breakfast? It's amazing. Picture waking up to fresh out of the oven blueberry scones. True story. I miss gluten. But what if you got the pleasure to witness a romance develop between the chef and the owner? Actually, y'all can skip the scones. Eve was such a sweet, lovable character that she will satisfy your sugar craving. Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. Did not say that, but there you go. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. There's a specific scene in here that will be engraved into my brain until the end of time. It involves a creepy child and pigs at a slaughterhouse. Kind of wanted to go vegan after this. No, I didn't. Oh man, I'm not starting a debate. I'm not accidentally starting a debate. We love all types of diets on this channel. I am a landitarian. The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharp is one of the best, if not best, YA thrillers I've ever read with a badass protagonist, themes of identity, mental health. Amazing. Sign Here by Claudia Lux was definitely one of the most unique books I read this year. It's safe to say that this was the only book that took place partially in hell. I will have to be readjusting these books behind me periodically throughout the video. I'm not really looking to be crushed today. That would not be ideal. The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. You see this hand? It had me in the palm of it. At times, the content in here is disturbing, but it's that kind of thing that you can't look away from. Hothouse Flower by Krista and Becca Ritchie is the first novel in the Addicted series that follows Daisy and Rake's relationship. I love these characters and I enjoyed their story, but I'm just not as invested in their relationship as I am with the other relationships in this universe. Like when I compare Rose and Connor to Reich and Daisy, come on. They really truly embody everything I love in a couple, in a relationship, in a couple. Sure, yeah. If I've Survived by Holly Jackson is enjoyable once you get past the 25% mark and don't mind a slower paced writing style. Not as great as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but you can't win them all. The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. Why did this feel like a French mystery film? A vintage French mystery film. I swear I watched a very similar film in my film studies class, even though they had completely different stories. For some reason, they just gave very similar vibes, and I don't know why. The Confidence of Wildflowers by Michaelia Smeltzer held me captive and then sucker punched me in the gut, and I don't think I will ever recover from that. Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. So I read You, right? And I was like, oh, I have an idea of how the next book will go. And then this happened. It was there. It was words on page. It expanded the first installment, but did it go in the right direction? Now that's debatable. I love doing this each time I hold up this book. It's so weird. Like, what happened in the factory? Heartstopper Volume 2 by Alice Osman was pure, sweet, every lovey-dovey word in the dictionary escapism. Oh, I read this book actually before the last one. Whoopsie. Score by L. Kennedy also sucker punched me in the gut. Like, I don't know why my books are being so violent. You know, I have not continued the series because I am still in pain from what happened in here. And why was it necessary? Why? The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. As a wise woman once said, everybody makes mistakes. Convenience Store Woman by Siaka Murata is a quick read with a unconventional protagonist and valuable commentary around the pressure to conform within society. Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. Although it took me triple the amount of time it typically takes me to read a book, the vibes, the intricate story, the witty characters were impeccable. I still need to pick up the next book, but I have a Goodreads goal to fulfill, okay? The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell, I think was written specifically to trigger me. This was such a strange thriller in the most pleasant way. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This book has gotten so many awards, including a Goodreads Choice Awards, a Barnes & Noble Book of the Year award, a whole bunch of other kind of pointless awards, including being one of Sarah Elizabeth's favorite book of all time. Award. This is actually my mom's copy I'm borrowing for this video. Thank you, Mother. I've been lending mine out to a friend of mine for the past 6 months, which I honestly don't care. I just want her to love it as much as I do. Emily, you're breaking my heart. My heart is breaking. No, I'm kidding. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, I've no doubt was show-stopping when it was initially released, but nowadays is more predictable than my coffee order. A cappuccino extra hot, please and thank you. Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. Y'all, I was right. This was literally a mafia romance on episode. Chain reaction, anyone? Apparently, I'm regressing back to my middle school era, and I'm not mad about it. Yours truly by Abby Jimenez. I loved every moment of this. Abby Jimenez has this way to write the most heartfelt stories with the most lovable characters. A Stranger in the House by Sherry Lapina. Something you can count on with a Sherry Lapina novel is that the ending will be amazing. That is a set in stone fact. I don't care that this book came out like 7 years ago. I'm still hoping and praying every day for a sequel. You hear me, Sherry Lapina? Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry was such an insightful, vulnerable memoir into what it's like to struggle with an addiction. Although this wasn't my favorite memoir, this has only gotten more impactful as time's gone on. I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston is a YA romance slash mystery. Ro-mystery, if you will. Where the biggest mystery was whom our protagonist would end up with, because she literally had chemistry with everyone. Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid wasn't quite the book I wanted it to be. I felt like it could have gone one step deeper at the end. Fun fact about me is that I have always wanted to go to Australia. People always tell me like,
"Oh, Sarah, you're gonna get eaten by a gigantic spider."
I don't care. I don't care. I will go someday. So when I picked up this fast-paced thriller, The Island by Adrienne McKenty, set in the Outback, you know I had a blast. Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 by Lisa Ugner was an okay, dragged-out, formulaic thriller. Finley Donovan Jumped the Gun by El Cosmano set up the IV drip and inject the series straight into my veins. Straight into my veins. Those that get it, and those that don't, I'm sorry. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. It's honestly a crime that I had not read this until now, and I don't know what happened in my childhood, but it was very, very much so lacking. The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre was so wild. It felt like A.R. Torre wanted to write the most absurd thriller possible, and she definitely did it, and I kind of loved it. Kinda. I'm still still like, this was kind of bad, but it was kind of good at the same time. Yeah, it was for sure entertaining. Something Wilder by Christina Lauren had so much potential, but it ultimately fell flat. Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I would like to issue my former apology, not to Emily McIntyre, but to Sophie Lark, for insinuating that she may have ripped off a scene in here. Turns out that book was actually written before this book. I take full responsibility. I should have done my research. And saying all that, Emily McIntyre, a scene in here is very similar to that in Stolen Air. What's up with that? Plagiarism. Not cool. Allegedly. Not saying she did that, but it kind of seems that way. The Last Word by Taylor Adams is whiplash in book form, but in the best way possible. The 22 Murders of Madison May by Max Berry, I will say I was a little intimidated by. Again, I don't read a lot of science fiction. Turns out this is actually a pretty easy to read thriller disguised as a sci-fi novel. Who would have thought? 7 Days in June by Tia Williams is a beautiful love story between authors. Got me right there. Got me right there, Tia Williams. The Nesting by CJ Cook. It tried. If it got rid of the fjord descriptions that dominated most of the book, this would be a lot better and a lot shorter. Final Girls by Riley Sager has a lot of slasher vibes, but with a psychological twist that I found particularly compelling. You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron is camp. Read this. The Club by Ellery Lloyd. Imagine making a murder mystery at an elite exclusive club boring. That's what this book does. We're gonna move these back in frame. You thought we were close to being done? No. We have 3 more piles. Dude, this is all what I'm doing today, okay? Literally, I'm filming this video and that's it. Killjoy by Holly Jackson was okay. Did this novella need to exist? No, not really. Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan was a very sweet domestic rom-com that would be a great read if you need something to restore your faith in humanity with. The Swap by Robin Harding. If you thought you had seen all of what Robin Harding had to offer, so did I. Until I read this book. Oh, it is so good. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Dolly Alderton is mother. No one is out here mothering the way Dolly Alderton is. However, I did still find myself at times going, okay, so when is this going to end? Golden Girl by Ellen Hildebrand. This book really showcases how great of an author and storyteller Ellen Hildebrand is. Also, a character in here is literally Ellen Hildebrand, except fictional and dead. Not to be grave, but until I get confirmation from Ellen Hildebrand herself, I will continue to believe that. Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blah is such an uplifting story of found family filled with 70s music. Stolen Air by Sophie Lark, more like Beauty and the Beast, but make it a mafia romance. I read all of the 3 Samurai Turned Pretty books by Jenny Han and then binged the Prime adaptation to determine which was better. I did this all for a video, so if you have not seen it yet, go watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, I am that girl.
Yes, I am that girl. You know I am that girl.
How does that song go? I don't know. That is how I'm feeling, and that is me. Queen of Thieves by B.Z. Marsh. If you don't typically pick up historical fiction but are into mysteries and thrillers, you need to pick this up. This is an underrated fave of mine. Good Neighbors by Sarah Langan. Thought it would be fun and cool and fresh to disguise an op-ed piece as a thriller. Yeah, no. Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan. Hard Eyes, Heart Pumpin', me while reading this book. Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. If I am not like these characters when I am their age, I am going to need to reevaluate my life. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I am the unpopular opinion and I get that, but nothing happens in this book. And unless you went to fashion school, a third of this book makes no sense. The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson is what happens when an author takes a classic such as Carrie and makes it so multi-layered and nuanced. The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose was predictable, but still entertaining. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason explores the really interesting topic of whether one can attribute being a sad girl to their mental illness or their own agency, in a very boring way. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher should have stayed in the drafts. Okay, that's a bit harsh, but it did not give what Book Talk said it would give. And like my foot right now, it's sleeping. Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney had interesting characters going about their uninteresting life. I am getting mean. What is happening? The Inmate by Frida McFadden is a brain empty, no thought kind of thriller, which, you know, always has its time and place. Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell is equal parts beautiful in writing, storytelling, character development. Loved it. I read all 3 novels in the Loathe to Love You Bind Up by Ali Hazelwood. Read these 2, skip this one. This one gave cozying up by the fire with a hot chocolate while falling in love with your roommate. This one starts at a coffee shop and our protagonist has a guinea pig. And this one compares Mars to something I'm not talking about on here. Ali Hazelwood, you can do better. Yellowface by Arif Kwan goes somewhere that other novels are too afraid to go by using dark humor to comment on its own industry, the publishing industry. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mirror is for those who at heart secretly want to live in their own fairy tale-esque kingdom. aka me. The School for Good Mothers by Jasmine Chan is like those films where the trailer is better than the actual movie. She started it by Sion Gilbert. This was And Then There Are None, but with bridesmaids. Like, that sounds like it would be amazing. However, this still slightly missed the mark. A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. The only noteworthy thing about this novel was the ending. Kiss and Spell by Celestine Martin was a perfectly fine rom-com. However, it just was not that compelling to me. In the Dream House by Carmen Marie Machado, you have to go into knowing that your reading experience is going to be different from that of a traditional novel. The composition of this novel is brilliant and jarring and so complex that I still don't fully understand what all happened in here. A lot of thrillers have some type of open ending where there's a little something unsaid. However, in The Perfect Family by Robin Harding, the ending contradicts the rest of the story and hence bumped it down a star. The Resurrection of Wildflowers by Michaelia Smelter needed to resurrect itself. I will take any time I'm given to spend with these characters. However, I was still ultimately disappointed in the story. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling is the book in the Harry Potter series that made me go like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why this series has cultivated such a following. The It Girl was another slow one from Ruth Ware, but where she lacks in regards to the pace, she makes up for with her intricate characters and setting. This one in particular immerses you into Oxford and its dark academic atmosphere. Last stack. Wow. Magic Lies and Deadly Pies by Misha Pop was a fun read that was surprisingly full of commentary. I was just making sure I read that title right because I've read this title wrong so many times. So many times. A Family Game by Catherine Steadman is a tense thriller with wild in-laws and a Krampus, which has since only visited me in my nightmares. Love that for me. When in Rome, Sara Adam redeemed herself with this book in my eyes. A cozy small town where we make pies all day? Love. Now we're getting into the books that I have not fully reviewed yet and wrap up, so if you have lasted this long, you get a little sneak peek into my thoughts on them. A little taste test, a little teaser for what's to come. Snowed In for Christmas by Jacqueline Snow felt like an excuse to write about two people going at it like rabbits, if you know what I mean. Goldilocks and the Grumpy Bear by Casey West packed a heck of a punch for being such a short novel. I will definitely check out more from this author duo. Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogel was an over-the-top comedic heartwarming romp. I don't think you would believe me if I told you I read this book all in a day. That was so bad. This video is really just an excuse for me to try to come up with as many puns as possible. Great audiobook, mediocre story. The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff needs a new marketing team, because what is this cover giving you? Snowed in, secluded setting, right? Well, half of this book takes place midsummer on a farm. Everyone in this room will someday be dead by Emily Austen made my family do a double take at what I was doing reading a book like this during the holidays. Look, I find dark humor joyful.
Okay.
I was having a holly jolly time. The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox was aggressively average. No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall was also aggressively average. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Tashikatsu Kawagachi was not aggressively average. This was my last read of 2023 and it was a 5-star. I want to visit this coffee shop. I want to be this cat. I want to be there right now. It was so great. I cannot wait to get my hands on the rest of the series. All right, there we go. Those were my 2023 reads. It was an okay reading year. I did find a good handful of 5-star reads, but I think we can do better for 2024. Not quantity-wise, but quality-wise for sure. Let me know down in the comments your favorite read of 2023. Go. Mine would have to be... Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem. I will be filming a 2023 reading journal flip through, and at the end there is a book bracket where my top reads of each month are going to be battling it out for my favorite book of the year. So I can't really tell y'all yet, which I know is mean. I'm sorry. Maybe you guys know me so well and you know my favorite book of the year. You can try to guess down below if you want, but I'm really curious as to your favorite book. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also comment, interact, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you all had a great reading year, and I'm wishing you the best for 2024, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.